Hi, James Barry here again with Morris, and we're going to talk to you now about carving tools and how you can keep them very, very sharp, very, very quickly using diamond in conjunction with leather strops. First of all, to give you an example, I'm just going to show you what sort of edge I can achieve on something like a hunting knife. So here's a knife that I'm going to use. When you're sharpening with a knife, I'm always asked about angles and what is the optimum angle. To me, it's fairly straightforward and logical. The flatter you work the blade to the knife, the more of a filleting edge. The more of the angle when you're coming up, the more of a boning edge. So with this knife, I'm just placing flat and just slightly up there, and I take it softly and slowly and just let the diamond do the work. Turn over here and come back on this side. It's very important that you do alternate strokes, not 2 or 3 strokes on one side. That is too much. Nice and slowly, I can see exactly what I'm doing. And I'm working here on 1000 grit fine Trend stone. So that's plenty on there. I'm just going to move the stone over there. And then I would use just an ordinary piece of leather with a little bit of honing paste on there. There's nothing fancy about this. You don't have to concern yourself about angles. I'm just applying a bit of polish there, and then I turn this over, and all I'm doing is removing the polish there, which is putting that final little edge on that knife. Now, the best way to prove that I've achieved a reasonable edge is probably with a piece of paper. And what I want to do, I don't really want to cut the paper. What I want to do is rest the blade on the paper, and I'm going to relax my hand and let the weight of the knife do the work, which means that it would do that, and it goes through the paper that quickly. So that, I would suggest, is the sort of edge that you need to achieve if you're working with carving tools. So I'm just going to clean up my mess in front of Morris, and Morris now has been working with carving tools for a few months, and we're going to see what he's come up with. Morris.
James, thank you. What a demonstration.
Thank you.
What I'd like to show you is some of the ideas that I've came up with in sharpening a variety of hand and power carving tools. And I'd like to start off with the power tools. These are out of your regular grinder type of carver, and to maintain an edge once it's been established, the general consensus is find your angle and to work that angle on your stone. I find that extremely difficult, and what I've been doing is taking one of the Trend handheld stones. We'll put a little fluid on it using the finer stone. Come up on the flat area and rotate that stone across the edge. To achieve your new edge in just a matter of seconds.
I guess doing it in a round circular motion like that gives you a fairly constant cut across the surface, as opposed to sort of doing this sort of motion where you're getting an inconsistent cut.
Well, I find that my hand's turning.
Yeah.
And on the larger stone, unless I have some type of a guide, then I find myself doing this up and down.
Yeah.
But with the circular motion, riding on the flatter side or the bevel side, I find that I can maintain a pretty consistent edge that you'll be able to see once you've started using the stone. Can you see that about 1/16 of an inch where it's dull at the end?
Yeah.
And it's relatively consistent. I can't do that by hand on the larger stone in the conventional manner.
Yeah.
And I find that if you are going to use a supported strop, that it's just a matter of a couple of strokes and take the flat side bring it down to take the wire edge off. You've polished it, and she's ready to go. Now, one of the hardest.
It's very key.
That's
very nice.
Did it come out okay?
Yeah, you do surprise me at times.
One of the harder stones that the carvers tell me they have problems with is the carver's gouge, which has a concave or convex bevel, what I call a bevel. It's a continuous edge, but it's rolled. It's a raised bevel. And conventionally, I've been told that the way to sharpen that would be to raise one edge up, bring the knife back, rotating it to the other edge in this manner. Now, I find that works. It's extremely difficult for me to use it that way because I'm a little awkward. But again, with the handheld hones from Trend, I'm able to come up and find the edge, rotate it all the way around. I'm being fairly consistent on the edge that's coming up, and you will find when you turn it over that dull area where she's making contact. Now, with the convex surface for what I am calling the bevel, to keep that convex, what I do is I rotate the stone, the hone, away from the edge, come around one time just to break any edge that I have put on there or soften it. And I find that maintains that concave or convex surface.
Yeah.
And with these gouges, I find that if I take a piece of leather and wrap it around my finger, I can take the wire edge off fairly easily and then turn it right around and polish what I'm calling the bevel. And you're off and running just in a matter of seconds.
That's lovely edge, isn't it? Yeah. That's beautiful.
With the miniature palm tools, they're not a lot of metal there, so you have to be extremely careful of whatever you use to sharpen them with. And again, I find that these handheld stones work extremely well, that you can actually see using the method that I use without having to try to find where you're at.
Yeah.
On a flat stone, I can hold this and find my edge much easier and use a rotating motion. I can take care of that edge real well. Now, initially, you're going to find sometimes the stone will tilt in, sometimes out. It's a matter of dexterity, and if you give yourself an opportunity to learn, it takes just a matter of minutes, and you'll find you can get a relatively consistent edge using this method. And again, you can use the strop to clean it up.
Yeah.
And as well as taking the bevel off of the inside, just as a hint, you can take the stone, I put it inside the piece of leather, and I'll bring that inside edge straight across it.
That's clever, yeah.
And that will take the wire edge
Yeah.
off of the inside.
Yeah. I noticed when you're working with these stones, you're applying very, very little pressure.
And that's worked real well until I was introduced to what I'm going to call the carver's dream, which is a new stone from Trend that's 600 and 1,000 grit. It's about twice as thick as the handheld stones that I have been using. It's quite substantial and it fits very well in the hand. The 600 grit and the 1,000 grit seem to be the perfect size for carving tools.
Some genius must have thought of coming up with those grit sizes.
I'll tell you, they've spent a lot of market time.
Yeah.
One of the other, you just using this stone, when we have let's take a V-shaped tool. Again, once you've established your edge and you're touching them up and sharpening them, rather than go to the bench stone and work it and trying to maintain that angle, again, I'm finding that if I stay on the flat, you can see when that flat comes right up there. You can actually feel it and just rotate the stone. Again, initially you're going to find that sometimes you'll tilt in and sometimes you'll tilt out. That's fine, that's fine. It's just a matter of giving yourself the opportunity to learn. And eventually, over just a matter of a few minutes, you'll lay it up there, you'll find that flat part, and you'll rotate it right around. Not a problem, you'll stay right on it. Again, I'll take the leather strop, or the piece of leather, tune the edges, take the stone, lay it in the piece of leather, take out the wire edge, and you're off and running. And it's just a matter of seconds.
You make it look so easy.
With the,
I guess it is with the right tools.
You have to have no question about it. You have to have the right tools. With the flex cut tools, again, we have a difficult tool to sharpen, which is the gouge. Again, it's a matter of coming up and finding the edge. There's not a flat to use, but you can come right on up and find that edge and just gently rotate as you're rolling it around, which is much easier than me trying to push it on a stone. Rotate it right around. Once I've reestablished a cutting edge, I drop it back off just to clean the back side of that micro bevel, if that's what you want to call it, off. Smooth it off just a little bit. Clean the back side up with a piece of leather. A pencil. The shaft of another carving tool makes an ideal size to clean up your wire edge with.
Yeah, it's nice.
With the larger gouges, they're a little bit easier to use because you can see that edge just a little bit better when you roll it, when you roll the stone up. And once you've picked up this carver's dream, as I'm calling it, you'll find that the weight is just perfect for this type of work.
Well, we've actually made this one twice as deep depth-wise than the original credit card stone, so it's a little bit more robust for the carvers.
And then I just rotate off of the cutting edge to remove any sharp edge that I've established when I was working on the edge of the tool. And again, the piece of leather, if you desire to use the strop, just to smooth that back up, and you can use your finger, make a perfect contour to clean the inside of your tool up.
That's a nice idea. So just for information purposes for you carvers out there, the 1000 grit stone is actually 15 micron in diamond, and just the top third is sticking up through the nickel. So your sharpening medium is actually about 5 micron. And if you think that a human hair cut in half is about 50, it gives you some sort of idea of the precision sharpening that can achieve. And I must stress, and I think you'll agree, using no pressure whatsoever because it cuts that quick.
No pressure at all. Just lay the stone against the metal and let the stone do the work.
Morris, that's brilliant.
Thank you.